everyone, Daniel here from the Next Issue Podcast. On today's video, I'll be doing a review for Wolfman 2025. This is a new film from BLUMHOUSE by director Lee Whannell. It is rated R with a runtime of an hour and 43 minutes. As of the recording of this video, we have a Rotten Tomato score of 53% from the critics, 59% from the audience, and a letterbox average rating of 2.6. So I think pretty consistent. Now, I will say, this feels a little bit lower than, first of all, than what I think, but also like for a film from Lee Whannell, who directed this and co-wrote this, and you may be familiar with the name from films like The Invisible Man that came out in 2020, right as everything was kind of shutting down, or the movie Upgrade, which I think is very cool. Which is Upgrade to me felt like almost what the Venom movies could have done in a really fun way. But yeah, in this film, we see with his marriage fraying, Blake persuades his wife Charlotte to take a break from the city and visit his remote childhood home in rural Oregon. As they arrive at the farmhouse in the dead of night, they are attacked by an unseen animal and barricade themselves inside the home as the creature prowls the perimeter. But as the night stretches on, Blake begins to behave strangely, transforming into something unrecognizable. This film stars Julia Garner as Charlotte, who you will also be seeing later on as the Silver Surfer, or some sort of version of the Silver Surfer, if you like the big Marvel films. Christopher Abbott as Blake, who also you've seen recently in Craven the Hunter. If you watch that, like I did, I was like, I knew he looked familiar, and then when I was putting together my review, I was like, oh, okay, that's who that is, and I think both Garner and Abbott deliver a great performance. Matilda Firth is Ginger, their daughter. I do have a review that I want to spotlight from Letterboxd. This is a review from Sydney Volpe. I think I follow a lot of her content. She did give this a 1.5 stars, and the review just says "woof." Now I picked it because I think it's funny, not so much because I agree with the sentiment. I actually haven't checked out that review to see why it is 1.5. She usually does stuff on her YouTube channel. I also saw Cinema Joe was not very uh, pleased with this film either, and those are people that I just kind of follow as people that I want to see what they think about films. But I'm always very happy to disagree with them if I think something is good and something is enjoyable. I think, um, and although I don't think this is a perfect film, it is by no means a bad film. I don't think. I think it does some interesting things that if you are newer to the genre, or maybe is a little bit more unexperienced, like just like more of a regular movie watcher. If you're a deep horror person, you probably seen a lot of these things, a lot these tropes and a lot of that stuff. So maybe you don't think it's novel, so you don't think that it enhances the experience as much. It might be a rethreading. I think that was Cinema Joe's kind of one of the criticisms, was that this tried to do some things that other films have done a little bit more successfully. So I don't want to go too much into detail to avoid spoilers. But myself, like, I'm not a big horror person. I do like Lee Whannell, and that was one of the reasons that I wanted to go check this out. Um, and I think, although it's not as strong as either Upgrade or The Invisible Man, I had a good time. I think this film very much sets up this idea of this character Blake, who's had a tough life and wants to be different, wants to change. So emotionally, there's a lot of turmoil within him already, and that really sets up the emotional stakes of the film. It does some things very cool, like there's a lot of really great backgrounds, and there's a lot, like the way that it's shot, it's pretty impressive in a lot of ways. Because like I said, to me some of the things felt new and novel. I love that we get to see things from his point of view as he's got this infection that's changing him. um, and I think maybe the disconnect with some of the people in the audience is that they were expecting a more straightforward Wolfman film, whereas this, from the get go, like from the first, there's some like in there's some writing in the front of the movie that tells you this is what the movie's gonna be about. Do not expect like a fully, like, wolfmen, like lycanthropy, like full moon type of tale. This is not what this is. So I feel like they were very upfront about that, and if that didn't color or like change their expectations of this film, then I don't know that that's the film's issue. Um, they spend a lot of time with Blake as a child, maybe a little bit more than we needed. So that makes the film's runtime, I think maybe 10 less minutes would have made this a little bit tighter. I love a 90-minute film. This was like an hour and 43, so it's not too far off. But I love a movie that's just 90 minutes because we have enough. If you're able to fit your story and all the emotions and everything that you want within 90 minutes, I think you, as a filmmaker, have a great level of expertise in making films. So, yeah. Also, like I said, there's some really cool visuals when it comes to the point of view of Blake as he's infected. I think, I mean, Charlotte's character, although we don't get, she's not super well rounded out, but Julia Garner just does a lot with her as far as like, she's a mom that is working a little bit more disconnected from the family life, whereas, Blake, who's the dad, gets to work from home and spends a lot of time with Ginger and his daughter. So, like, you kind of get to see two people from very different worlds who just happen to meet and they are now a family. I think this film tries to touch a little bit on the themes of family, and just maybe doesn't fully succeed at that. And although this doesn't do anything that I hadn't. This doesn't do anything that really surprised me. It was just some stuff that I thought was very well done. I really like that as Blake is changing and his senses are enhanced, or at least his perception of how he perceives things changes. You can kind of see that there's clues at that, where like maybe his hearing is a little bit more enhanced, or his vision is changing. His The body horror of this, I feel like they could have gone a little bit more. And I'm not a big body horror person, but I feel like I wish they would have pushed it a little bit more, specifically with the final look of the creature, I'll call them. Yeah, like I feel like they could have gone a little bit harder on that. Maybe just a little bit. And I know I just said that I was not expecting like a straight up Wolfman movie, but I feel like they could have gone a little bit deeper on that. Um, there's definitely, once things get going, they definitely don't stop, which I think is great. It's something like having to pick a spot to like go to the restroom or something. Like, it was really tough during this film. Um, but yeah, I think that it really accomplishes what it fully set out to do, even if in not the most impactful way. So I had a very very good time with this. I really liked it. I think I'm ending up at around 3.5 stars on Letterboxd if you've seen my post. But yeah, there's definitely room for improvement. I think Lee Winnell, I'll definitely continue to check out any of his work in the future, because I think it's worth it. And I think these actors did such a great job. I can't wait to see them in more projects, and maybe in some different stuff. And I hope that Blumhouse and Universal, or whoever owns these characters' rights, continue to explore those classic monsters and creatures, because I think they can be a lot of fun in a more modern context, right? I think Invisible Man was just kind of a game changer that showed like, oh, we could do cool things here, and just like we don't have to follow the exact formula. And I think this is what the movie did as well. It's trying to change the way that we perceive the mythos and the idea of the Wolfman. But I think that some people may struggle with that, and that might be where it's clashing a little bit. Um, I think that's all I have. The film sometimes can get very dark, but I think that's the fun way to set the mood and the tension. I don't think the child performer in any way ever gets in the way. And although maybe the ending is probably going to be a little divisive, I would think. But I didn't have an issue with it. So yeah, there's a lot of things to explore in this Wolfman movie. Maybe we'll talk about it more in the future once some of the other guys from the show have seen it. Maybe we'll do a full episode on that or something, because I think it's a really cool idea to explore these characters and these properties. So I look forward to more Blumhouse stuff too. I really like what they put out, because it's it's funny in a way to say it. It's horror that I can handle. So all right, if you've seen The Wolfman, let me know what did you think about this film. As always, thank you for watching, everyone. Remember to share, like, subscribe, Hit the bell so you know when we go live. That is most Saturdays, 10 a.m. Central Standard Time. Stay tuned. We have more comic reviews, trailer reactions, TV recaps, all that fun stuff here in the channel. Thanks for watching, everyone. Bye bye.